Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Today I am staying with the theme of travel and I'm asking you the question, how do you like to work out your accommodation? Do you prefer to plan ahead so that you know when you get to where you're going exactly where you're going to stay? Or do you hop on a train or a plane or jump in the car and arrive somewhere and then figure it out? What are some of the styles that you prefer? Is it sometimes different? Like sometimes you like to be totally spontaneous and just show up somewhere and see where you end up, or do you always like to have a plan? Do you prefer hotel, motel, inn, bed and breakfast, Airbnb, vacation rentals? Have you ever tried Workaway or Woofing or Trusted House Sitters? Yeah, let me know how you like to roll. Fly. For this upcoming trip, Diem and I are using Trusted House Sitters for the first time. Last year, I used the Workaway program, which I learned about in 2019. I met this wonderful young woman when I was in Thailand, and I knew I wanted to go to Malaysia, but I hadn't looked at a map or figured anything out, and I had just come out of a 10-day silent Vipassana, and I didn't have any internet connection at the monastery. And this young woman I met was like, I'm going to Malaysia. And this was after it was all done and we could speak, obviously. And so it was so great that we connected when we did, because I was actually going to hop on a train and go somewhere else with someone, at trying to figure out my way to Malaysia, but I would have been going in the wrong direction. So it all worked out. She invited me to join her, and that was great. We trained and ended up in Georgetown, was it called? Oh, it was such a cool little part of Malaysia. It is a UNICEF heritage area, and I'm completely losing the name at the moment, but I think it was Georgetown. And then I accompanied her to go to this place called Mahdi's Art Garden. And Mahdi's this wonderful man that has an art garden in a fishing village. And oh my goodness, it was just the best first experience I could have wished for. And I loved it so very much that last year when I was leaving Zanzibar and thinking like, I don't know where I'm going next, I don't know what my plan is, I looked at Workaway, and the very first Workaway that I applied to, they replied and said, yes, come. And so I had my own private little, I say apartment, but it was more like, well, they call it the serre, which is greenhouse in French, because it actually was a greenhouse that was converted into a little apartment. So it still had all the windows, and three sides of it were all window, and it was located in the garden next to what they created they took out their veggie garden and made a pickleball court. But it was amazing. My service was to garden Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. In exchange for that, they provided croissant each morning, and fruit and coffee and tea and lodging. And so I had this serre that had a view of the Mediterranean Sea. It was a 15-minute bicycle ride from the ocean, and it was in a wonderful little village. So I found that through the Workaway, Now, I think I paid maybe something like $80 for a 1-year subscription to Workaway, and I felt like that one stay for me made the membership fee absolutely worth it. And so that's actually going to expire in a few days, but instead of doing that this time around, we followed the recommendation that we got from a couple friends we actually made there in France last summer to try trusted house sitters. And so when we arrive on the big island of Hawaii in a few days, the first sit we're going to do is 3 days after we arrive. But the woman that we've been talking to on the phone, that we're going to do a sit for, has been so kind that she is picking us up from the airport, allowing us to stay in her furnished apartment, which is off property somewhere else, for the few days until we come to her property when she leaves, and we get to use her car until our van arrives later in the month. And so already this site, Trusted House Sitters, like the 2 people that we've booked to have sits with, have just been so welcoming and generous and kind that I'm feeling really good about the community. And I've been told from the friend who referred me and others who use it that the whole community seems to be all like kind of, like-minded in the way that they're trusting and kind people. And so I'm feeling so good about that. And because she referred me, I think it's like they give you 30% off if a friend refers you. So again, it was maybe like $90 for a 1-year membership. But I went on, you can look at it even if you're not a member, and look up sits. And they have sits everywhere that DM and I have been thinking about exploring, like Asheville, North Carolina, and different parts of Tennessee. And so when we come back to the States in the fall, after I get to meet my grandson for the first time in November and spend a little time with family, we're planning on putting this place on the market and maybe finding something else here on the mainland so that we can buy locate. But we'll see. Who knows? I can't pretend like I know it's going to happen in the fall. But anyway, we're looking like, wow, there's so many opportunities to explore everywhere in the world in this very, it's not only affordable because you don't end up paying for your accommodations, but you really get to meet and drop in with some local people. And I'm kind of a brat sometimes in my traveling. I mean, I do camp and I do rough it sometimes, but I also love making my own milk. I do almond and sunflower seed milk, and then I use the milk that I make and I put it in a foamer. And so my coffee in the morning is like starting the day with dessert. I make my coffee and I foam my milk and I sprinkle spices on it, and so having a kitchen and the accommodations to have the morning coffee is one of those things that I just absolutely love. And so we are going to do some backpacking when we're in Hawaii, but also we're going to do some house sitting. And the first house we're going to be in, this woman has a beautiful, lovely home that her and her husband built on 20 acres. And yes, I'll be able to have my fancy coffee in the morning for the couple of weeks we're there. So anyway, that's just a quick share about how the accommodation is going to work out for us in the beginning of our trip, and then who knows from there. Yeah, because the land that we're looking at, actually, there's a few pieces of land that we're going to look at when we get on the island, and a couple of them are raw and don't have any structures yet, so we'll see. And when we shipped our van, which We always lay all the seats down and put a mattress in the back and camp that way too. So many options. Let me know, how do you like to book your stays or not book your stays? Yeah, what's your flow for accommodation? Where do you like to lay your head? Let me know. Thank you. Ciao for now.